My name is Larissa Tormey and I'm a host of radio, show and video blog My Music and My Story, where I interview and play music by my friends and colleagues from music show business. You can hear the show on the MKB independent radio once a month, every second Thursday of the month, or watch it on my YouTube channel, Larissa Tormey Music. Let's begin.
I could be yours, you could be mine. We could be lost in space and time. And it could be beautiful, it could be sensuous, it could be everything you need. And you can't say no, 'cause I want you so. No, you can't say no, 'cause I want you so. Won't you let yourself go? Come on, let yourself go. Won't you let your love show? Baby, let your love show. Let yourself go. You're the one for me, and I want to drown deep in your love. Whatever you want, your desire. No, I can set your heart on fire. You make me feel weak, you make me feel good, you make me feel like a woman should. 'Cause when your love comes down, I just want to drown. When your love comes down, I just want to drown. Won't you let yourself go? Come on, baby, let yourself go. Won't you let your love show? You gotta let your love show. Let yourself go. You're the one for me, and I want to drown deep in your love. Don't you know you're a daydream, baby? Don't you know? Don't you know you're a fantasy? When your love comes down, I just want to drown. Won't you let yourself go? Won't you let your love show? Won't you let yourself go? Come on, baby, let yourself go. You know you gotta let your love show. Let yourself go. You're the one for me, and I want to drown deep in your love.
Hello everybody, my name is Larissa Tormey. I'm a singer-songwriter based in Ireland, originally from Russia, and I'm having great fun in here recording interviews with friends of mine, musicians, songwriters, amazing altogether people, and some of them Irish, some of them not. But today I'm going to talk to a girl. Her name is Katrina O'Sullivan, and I think she's epitome or kind of beauty of Celtic woman. Everything in her now looks, talent, I'm sure, intelligence too. Katrina, you're very, very
You're
welcome
pushing me
to
too
my
much,
show.
Larissa.
You're
You can
very,
have a chat with
very
my husband, and you must inform him of all these things.
I can give it to you in writing, okay? And I'm going to sign it.
I'll just wheel you into my husband a few times a week to remind him of all these things.
That's
Will
it.
I?
That's it.
Will
I
you
think
tell me where I'm going wrong?
I think it's very important to be reminded ourselves because I don't know about you, but I think artistic people kind of, despite of the talent, not very sure in themselves, and we have to be reminded constantly that we are talented, we're beautiful, aren't we? Like it's
I
important.
know, I know. You're right. You're right. You have to work in the confidence all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
very,
everyone has to
very
work in that.
important.
And
Very
yeah,
important. So,
yeah.
tell me, well, I'm going to start from where are you based? That people know where are you in Ireland?
I'm down in North Kerry in Tralee in County Kerry. I was living in Dublin for many years to pursue the music and the singing. And then when I was pregnant with my first child, we moved back to Tralee, where I'm from. My dad has a bar down here, a pub called the Munster Bar, if anyone's passing Tralee. But I grew up there, you know, playing a lot of music and hearing country music and traditional music and pop music in the bar. You know, it was, we were living over the bar, so it was literally thumping up through the ceiling. Very often you'd be hauled out of your bed to go down and sing a few songs. You know, you could be asleep in bed and your parent might land up and go, "Oh, there's a gang of American tourists downstairs. Come down and sing a song. Just sing one song," and you'd find
Good.
yourself there then at 3 in the morning. It was great fun,
Yeah,
and you were exposed to lots of different types of music. And I think the other thing it did for me is it got you used to talking to people all the time. And I suppose a lot of music is about connecting with people,
it
both
is.
through the music itself, and then even in the business side, you know, you have to be able to approach people and talk to people. I still get nervous and shy about that sometimes myself, and people probably don't think it when I'm the judge in a show, but you know, I still can find it hard to pick up a phone and approach somebody. But once I am talking to someone, you know, I suppose all those years of just chatting away to customers in the bar, it does help, you know, just to relate to people, and music is all about communicating and relating to people. So not just with the music, but I think in terms of communication skills, the bar helped, you know, in terms of meeting all different types of people.
Katrina,
Yeah.
tell me please then, all that childhood, I know you probably always knew then you're going to be a musician. Then how did you proceed with education? What your background? I know you're educated, I
Yeah, I
want
was
to
very
know.
lucky. I was very lucky in that when I was 11, my parents moved into the town of Tralee. Prior to that, we lived in the countryside, and I had learned a little bit of traditional music in my national school. So it literally started on the tin whistle. The humble tin whistle starts a lot of musicians, you know, in national school. And then my grandmother had an accordion lying around the house, and I picked that up and started to learn a little bit of that. And then the teacher in that country school said to my parents, you know, you should really get her some formal music lessons. You know, I mean, you know, when you're a child, you're not really aware of yourself.
You don't know.
And I didn't know that I could sing when I was a child up till the age of about 10. And then there was an event on in that local school, that little village school, where they were celebrating their 100-year anniversary. And they put on a big event in the car park in front of a couple of hundred people, which was a really big event, say, you know, as a child of
For the
10.
child, yeah.
That was a really big event, and it was a car park full of people, and they'd put the big lorry at the side of the stage, and there was a mass, and I sang at that, and it got a really strong reaction. I sang a Nancy Griffith song, From a Distance, and that was the first song I ever kind of learned to sing.
Uh-huh.
And I really liked Nancy Griffith, and my mother would, you know, my grandmother used to always be listening to, you know, Susan McCann and Philomena Begley, and then my mother used to listen to a lot of Nancy Griffith. So I loved that song, From a Distance, and that was the first moment I realized that I actually could sing, you know, because
Everybody needs inspiration. Everybody needs a song, a beautiful melody. When the night's so long, 'cause there is no guarantee that this life is easy. And when my world is falling apart and there's no light to break up the dark, that's when I I see the truth. You love me for who I am, like the stars hold the moon, right there where they belong. And I know I'm not alone, and when my world is falling apart and I can't find my way home in the dark, that's when I look at you. When the waves are flooding the shore and I can't find my way home anymore, that's when I look at you. You appear just like a dream to me, just like kaleidoscope colors that color me every breath that I breathe. Don't you know you're beautiful? Yeah, yeah. When the waves are flooding the shore and I just can't find my way home anymore, that's when I look at you. When I look at you, yeah, yeah, oh love.
Such a reaction. And then I think my parents kind of took that on board. My mother always loved music, and my dad is a lovely singer, but I suppose in my parents' generation, they wouldn't have had the opportunity to avail of
To do it
music industry.
professionally, yeah.
There wouldn't have been the money
No.
there to send them to lessons or anything. They were lucky
Okay.
to be going to school in the first place, and those days. So my mom, in fairness, they were very supportive, and I suppose when they moved into the bar in Tralee was how they were able to afford to send me to piano lessons and voice lessons. So I was very grateful for that, and that brought me on a lot. I suppose it does help your confidence a lot, and you learn your technique, and the breathing technique with the singing, and to learn the piano and everything was a great vehicle then for writing songs, and I suppose to this day I very much use the piano to accompany myself and to get down my ideas
I was just going to
in a
move
song.
you to that. So
Yeah.
piano would be your main instrument that you play, is
Yeah,
it, Katrina?
piano and voice, yeah.
Okay, me too. Yeah.
And I'm lucky now. I had an accident with my hand a year ago where I had an operation in the wrist, so I couldn't play for a few months, and I have to get another operation in a few months. But hopefully the hand will stay good. I can play at the moment. My thumb sort of froze up for a couple of months after the operation.
Oh my God.
Hopefully, you value your hands are so important when you're playing guitar or playing piano. But I suppose these things happen sometimes to make you appreciate what you have as well. I mean, I
I
think
suppose
very often it's not until something is taken
you're a
away that
bit
you kind of realize, oh God, glad to have it.
you're a bit like myself. You're looking for any event of your life. You kind of take it as a lesson, is it? You're very
I kind
thoughtful
of
this
do. I
way.
kind of do. Yeah,
Me
I
too.
do. And I suppose the one thing about things happening to you is that it gives you appreciation for your health, and it gives you appreciation for, how important maybe your hands are when you suddenly can't use your hand. It puts you thinking. I suppose to appreciate, your health and the use of your limbs, and to be able to play an instrument and so on.
And would you call yourself a spiritual or religious? Something about that
I
now?
would, yeah, I
You
would,
would.
yeah, I would. I'd be very spiritual. I'm probably, I don't go to mass as often as I should. I'm always meaning to go, but I would be a very spiritual person. I'd probably pray every day, and I've two children. I'd pray for them every day, because I
Of
think a
course.
lot of life is luck, and I think a lot of life is about being in the right place, the right time, or the wrong place, the wrong time,
Yep.
in terms of the different things that happen. So I pray a lot, because just that they're in the right place and not the wrong place.
You know
And that
what?
they'll be blessed. Yeah.
My mom, she passed away now. She always said to me before that mother's prayer always goes straight into the ear of the God.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah,
It's
that's
actually
lovely.
true.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's what you're saying. It makes big sense when the mom
yeah,
prays for
yeah.
children. It's very, very important to do that.
This is it.
I wanted to know, so you started to play instruments. Piano is your main instrument. We were talking about spirituality as well, of you kind of as developing as a musician then. And did you go to any then university or anything? You had a
I
higher
did.
education for
Yeah.
sure, yeah?
I did, yeah. It was funny. Music wasn't offered as an academic subject in my school, but when I was discussing what I was going to do in college with my parents, my dad, I kept saying, oh, I'd like to do law, but it won't give me enough time for my music, and I'd like to do this, but it won't give me time for my music. And eventually, my dad said, well, why don't you just do music then? And
Exactly.
it sounds so obvious, I don't know why that hadn't occurred to me. I was doing piano and I was doing voice lessons, but it never occurred to me to do it as an academic subject. And then I know it sounds so obvious, but it wasn't a subject in my school at the time either. So I just hadn't thought of it. And then I thought, God, that's a great idea. Go and do what you love, because all I was going to be thinking was everything else was going to take me away from singing, take me away
Yeah,
from
yeah,
music.
yeah. Yeah, you
And
know
that's all I
that's
was
true.
worried about.
I know my love by his way of walking. I know my love by his way of talking. I know my love dressed in a suit of blue. And if my love leaves me, what will I do? And still she cried, I love him the best. And a troubled mind sure can know no rest. And still she cried, bonny boys are for you. And if my love leaves me, what will I do? There is a dance house in Mardyke. 'Tis there my true love goes every night. He takes a strange girl upon his knee. Well, now don't you think that vexes me? But still she cried, I love him the best. And a troubled mind sure can know no rest. And still she cried, bonny boys are for you. And if my love leaves me, what will I do? If my love knew I could wash and read, if my love knew I could sew and spin, I'd make a coat of the finest kind. But the want of money sure leaves me behind. And still she cried, I love him the best. And a troubled mind sure can know no rest. And still she cried, bonny boys are few. And if my love leaves me, what will I do? I know my love is an errant rover. I know he'll wander the wild world over. In dear old Ireland he'll no longer tarry. An American girl he's sure to marry. But still she cried, I love him the best. And a troubled mind sure can know no rest. And still she cried, bonny boys are few. And if my love leaves me, what will I do? And still she cried, I love him the best. And a troubled mind sure can know no rest. And still she cried, bonny boys are few. And if my love leaves me, what will I do?
And I had to work very hard the first year of college because I hadn't done music for junior or leaving cert, but I caught up and I came out top of the class at the end of it all because I was I remember the professor said to me, you have a very modest theoretical background. And when I went in first, and I was like, in my own mind, I was like, how dare you? Even though I did have a modest theoretical background. So I think I was out to prove a point. I myself and another boy came out top of the class at the end. I just worked my backside off to catch up and I suppose prove him wrong.
You know what? You actually you striking me as a very much perfectionist, and I tell you why. You know why? Because You for our meeting even you were exactly on time, and that's very rare for
Oh,
musicians.
really?
I always been like that. If when I was touring in Russia, I was always first on the touring bus, ready. If was told at 8 o'clock, I'm there at 8 o'clock, and
Yeah,
everybody else coming there 30 minutes later. You know.
yeah, I
So do
know.
you think?
Yeah.
Do you like achiever, aren't you? A perfectionist. So you like to do everything right.
I suppose I do. I suppose I do. I mean, I'm pretty relaxed as a person, but there's certain habits I've tried to keep. I really hate being late. Like I used to be terrible for being late, even socially when I was younger. And then, eventually the penny drops and I was like, I really don't like having someone waiting for me. That kind of
Yeah, yeah.
stresses me out because I
I'm the
feel like
same.
it's disrespectful, I suppose,
I'm
and,
the
and
same. Yeah.
I don't want them to feel I'm disrespecting them. So
Mhm.
when I was younger, it's funny, I'd be a bit of an optimist. So when I would move to Dublin, I always underestimated how long it took to get anywhere, because in Tralee, you can be anywhere in 10, 15 minutes. In Dublin, it would take you an hour to get into the city from
Yeah,
where I was
yeah.
living. And I'd always think, oh, no, sure, I'll be in 40 minutes. I always got it wrong. It took me about 5 years, 6 years to kind of get to grips
To
with this is how long it
adjust.
takes you to get
To
somewhere in the
adjust.
city. And I think it was being overly optimistic, but I don't like, I would hate people to think that I'm showing them disrespect by being
I
late. So
understand.
I try and be on time. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very
I
same.
don't like
And
that.
Katrina, tell me, what was the course? What did you actually do in the college? And where was the college? In
It
Dublin,
was
was it?
it was in UCD in Dublin.
Okay.
So it was very much, I suppose, the academic side of music. You had to go to another college to get your instrument lessons. So I was running into the centre of Dublin on the bus to get voice lessons with Veronica Dunn. She was an opera vocal coach,
I
and
was going to Veronica too. We'll
were
talk
you?
about it. Yeah,
Oh,
we'll talk
really?
about
Oh,
the
she's a bit of a hoot.
piano.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was
Oh,
a great tour de force, as you know. And I was into her 3 times a week. And then there was a guy called David Ray. I used to go to him to practice your French songs and your Italian songs. He was like your repetitor, that he would kind of practice the arrangement of these classical songs with you and work on your language and your pronunciation. And
wow.
a lot of the
It's
time you were singing in
impressive.
Italian and French, and it was great training. It was great training. Like I always knew deep down that I probably would go back to songwriting in more of a popular style, in the country
Hmm.
kind of popular style. But like I really wanted to get the discipline of the classical training, and it gave you great discipline. I mean, even the other week I was recording a new song in studio with a guy, Ray McLaughlin, and he said to me, like we were singing for 8 hours in the studio, and he was like, he kept saying, is your voice tired, or are you tired? And I'm kind of going, no, I'm fine. And he said, what, you've great old stamina, but I think that's because, as I was saying to him, you could spend 1 hour on one line of an
Yeah.
operatic aria when you were training. So it was great practice for studio recording, actually, because you could spend one whole hour perfecting one line. The sweat would be dripping off you. Veronica would be coming at you to relax,
I
your
know. Yeah.
cheek or your chin, or your push up your diaphragm harder or whatever. But it was great. It was very grueling getting that training, but it was great preparation. And it meant then when you go into studio and you might have to sing something, however many times to do the harmonies, or, however many times you'll stick at it till you get it, basically, because, you're kind of accustomed to that, to having to stick at it.
Um,
Yeah.
It's
You know.
it's amazing what you're just talking about, because I think about it a lot. I have very same training. I have university degree in piano. I'm pianist and mezzo soprano, right? And
Oh,
what you're talking about, Katrina, here is called professionalism. There is a professional. It's profession. Like I'm trying to kind of to get it into people's head. It's not as simple like jump on the stage or go. Will you go jump
yeah.
on the stage and sing 2 or 3 songs? It's like
Yeah.
it's a profession. It's hard
Yeah.
work.
Oh gosh, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what you're talking about, and even that discipline you have in your studio, how many hours you can work, it because you're professionally trained musician. That's why.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. I think it's amazing that you've done that, Katrina, and that will help you, of course, always in your
Oh, it will.
career.
It
It
will. And
will.
and I was lucky too. I mean, I don't take for granted that, I was lucky to be able to go to college. I was lucky to have parents who sent me to singing lessons. my dad came from a very poor family. So, my mom and dad were constantly telling us, you're very, very lucky to be able to go. Now, I worked hard myself too. I always worked in the bar. I always had part-time jobs, and I got a scholarship to do my master's in music then. And so I was able to pay for that myself. And as soon as I could, as soon as I'd done the degree, I was paid my own rent in Dublin and all of that. But I always had 2 or 3 jobs. But that was kind of, again, the work ethic came from home, I
Yeah,
suppose, where my parents worked
hard
very,
work.
very hard.
And tell me then, how did you what was the plan? You always wanted to be a singer. Then how did you achieve that? When you finished education, did you start to teach? Did you start to sing? What
Yeah.
did you do?
So yeah, when I finished the education, I started teaching when I was doing the masters in music to earn a few pound, and pay your rent. So the teaching was great for that, like, that you wouldn't starve. And then I was doing demos. I started doing demos in Dublin, and I remember meeting the first music producer, and going and spending a couple of thousand on my first demo to try and get a good quality product. And then I went to a publishing company, Pure Music, and played them the demo, and they paid for me to do another demo, which was great. It was all little stepping stones. And then I met a music manager, a politician actually from Jimmy Deanahan from Kerry, introduced me to a music manager, Eamon Leahy, who gave me a start again. Eamon invested a little bit in me, and we did another demo, and we went and did auditions in London. And then I remember, it was a tough climate at the time, because a lot of the record companies didn't have a lot of money. They'd put a lot of money into boy bands and girl bands at the time. That was the big thing at the time, the Spice Girls. And
what sort of, Katrina, what sort of music did you record? What was it? What was
I was recording songs. I suppose I loved soul music, actually. So there was quite a bit of soul in the music. And even today, I love the likes of Chris Stapleton, that kind of soulful country.
Me too. Yeah.
Love it. I love
Soul
that. That's
country.
my love. Soul country. I really love that. And I think whatever you sing should be soulful anyway. I don't know. There's a great emotion in it. So that first album, there were songs there that kind of had a soul country tinge. The big single off the album, I'll Be There, had a kind of it was like a country popular type, Nashville type song.
I see you, I see the bravery with which you try and smile. I know you, I know your history would make a grown man cry. There's nothing I wouldn't say just to take your pain away. There's no price I wouldn't pay to feel you next to me. I'll be there next to you. You're part of me, I'm part of you.
songs on the album were my own. They were all original songs, and I co-wrote one of them with the guy called John Walsh in Dublin. He does a lot of music for film and adverts and stuff. But all the other songs are my own, and then I worked hard in arranging them with the producer Gavin Murphy.
So how many songs, tell me, was on that album?
13 songs on that album, and there was, as I said, a big soul influence and a country influence in there too as well, quite a number of them.
So that was 2006. You recorded this album, and then what happened then? Did it pick up your career? Did you start to tour? What happened?
So we put out the album, and we did a little tour around Ireland at the time, in the theatres and around shopping centres to sell the album, which is how you got it to chart at the time. So two of the singles charted, which was great. The first one was Let Yourself Go, and that was was it number 23 in the Irish chart at the time, because I was complete unknown at the time. And then I'll Be There we put out as well, and that was the third most played song on radio at that time on 2FM and stuff. I was delighted at the time. So to go from a total unknown to that, you know, I felt was good at the time. But then I suppose there came a decision as to whether we were going to go to England or not. And I suppose I was with a record label and under management and everything. And, you know, there was, we went to and met a PR company. It was David Gray and Piley Minogue's PR company in England. And they said, you know, you need to make a video, you know, that this gob was kind of in its infancy at the time. And the label, I suppose, felt, oh, well, we'll wait for her to get on the A list, you know, on BBC Radio 2, I think it was. And because the head of BBC Radio 2 really liked the song I'll Be There, which was my single out at the time. And it was a touching enough song, because I'd written it for my dad, actually, after my uncle passed away in a fire. And, you know, it came from a very sincere place. So it was quite an emotional song. And he really liked the song. But, you know, they were kind of saying she needs a video. And the short and the long of it was the record label felt, well, let's wait for her to get on the playlist first. And the PR company were going, no, the video needs to come first, because they need to see the whole package. So basically, the company kind of dug their heels in and were like, no, we're waiting for her to get on the playlist first. And I think I kind of lost heart a little bit, because I knew that this was a big opportunity. It was amazing that the head of BBC Radio liked my song. And I was in the room and they were sort of saying, look, this is what needs to happen, you know, to take this next step.
So basically they didn't want to invest in the video then, Katrina.
They didn't want to invest in the video until after I'd gotten the playlist. And the company were kind of saying, to get on the playlist, she needs a video, you know. So that was kind of a bit of a heartbreak at the time. And I kind of lost heart a bit, and I had been living on, say, an advance they'd given me for the year. So I ran out of money and went back teaching, and they kind of offered to put out another single or two, but I kind of lost confidence in the vision, or in the leadership and in the vision at the time a bit, if I'm honest. Even though, again, I mean, I look back, I was very lucky that they had invested in doing this fabulous album, and no expense was spared for the actual album itself, for the music part of it. And to be honest with you, a video would have been a drop in the ocean up to the amount that had been spent on the album, but I wasn't in control of those decisions, you know. So I went back teaching, and I suppose I was 27, 28 at the time, and I kind of felt my husband was in the music business as well at the time, and I felt I needed a little bit of security, and I went and did a H-dip. But I was always writing songs. I was writing songs with Gavin Murphy, who, as you know, went off and became musical director of Celtic Woman at a later point, and Gavin had produced my first album. So I was writing for him, and then I was approached to write Irish textbooks by a publishing company called Gill. I was working in a Grimes school, and they came into my school and said, did you give such and such a Grimes course? So that I wrote 3 books in another 3 years for Irish. And I was still songwriting, but it was hectic. I was teaching full time. I was writing textbooks. I was still doing gigs and in covers bands around Dublin, and I was doing the show on TG Cahir Glortira, judging that. So, you know, I had 3 or 4 kind of jobs in the go, and I was always writing songs. But I wrote those 3 books, and then we decided. Then my mum passed away, and when I was about 35, and I thought, I felt like it was very important to. I kind of felt, you know, when she passed away, what's important here. Like, I was very career driven up to that point, but I was kind of like, you know, it's about your family, it's about your children, and I was kind of thinking, I either need to move now and having children, or decide I'm not having them. And I felt like, when my mum passed away, I felt, you know, what's really important is family. Yeah. So I decided to have children and move on that. So then we had my son, Sean, and Then I got a contract for writing 5 more textbooks
Oh wow.
with a friend of mine in Mayo. So we wrote 5 more books for the new junior cert and the leaving cert. And I was writing songs the whole time. In the meantime, then my friend John Walsh in Dublin, who writes music for advertisements, he approached me to write the Irish lyrics for an Air advertisement. It was a Scots Gaelic tune, and that wound up going to #1 on iTunes on the world music chart.
And who recorded it? Who sang this tune?
It was actually friends of mine from college that sang it. It was a male-dominated track. Simon Morgan, who's a really lovely tenor in Dublin.
Okay.
And there was a bunch of choral singers that I sang with in college, actually. And Simon and I co-conducted the choir in UCD. So it was all my college friends that sang in it. I was in Inuna for a short time, that choir in Dublin, and they were in Inuna. They had fabulous choral voices, and they sang it. And it was a real sort of a feisty, tribal Irish language track.
Oh, I love that world
So
music.
it took off, that track, and it was sampled by the Israeli DJ Vinny Vici, and it got to #1 on the world music charts, and it was in the top 10 Irish music charts. It got on the Late Late Show. So it was lovely to be part of that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the yearning never went away in me, though, all the while for
your own.
For getting out singing again. It's just that life kept kind of getting in the way. You know, you're having, you've bereavements, and you have children, and I had to do certain things, I suppose, to support my family. And then when with the roof over our head, and Sean and Bella now are like, 8 and 4, when COVID came, I had finished writing the 5 books with my friend, and I decided to go job sharing from school, because I finally could, 8 books later, I could finally afford to go job sharing and give a little bit of breathing space to my music, because that I've been longing to get back to for years and years and years. That I've been writing songs like all the time. I've loads of songs sitting there and demoed. But just, you have to have time, though, to record them, then, to get the recording out to the level that you're going to put it out there, and to make videos, and to approach DJs. Like, it all takes time. And again, I'm probably over optimistic of it, where if I have 1 hour, I try and squeeze 10 hours work into 1 hour. Like, there's only, you do need to give yourself a bit of time. And during COVID, I started putting up little Facebook videos of myself performing from my kitchen. And from that, DJs started noticing online and started messaging me to send them my singles. And, I was sending them the singles from my album, but the desire was very strong in me then to bring all these songs I'd written for the last 10, 15 years and start recording them and put them out. So basically, I put out one cover then of Summer Wine with Desi Egan, which kind of got the ball rolling, and it was received very well at radio, and got Radio 1, RT Radio 1 play, and it got a lot of regional play. And then I really wanted to put out something original. So I'd been writing then songs with Johnny Brady. Had asked me to write with him a few times at Glortira, and again, it was plucking up my courage. He's such a lovely guy, but I can be shy. I know people would think that's ridiculous, because they wouldn't think by me that I am like that. But if I can put it into words, I suppose, if something means an awful lot to you, I can be shy about that. I'm not shy about teaching. I'm not shy about writing books, but because music means so much to me, and it's so personal.
It's too personal, isn't it?
Because
so personal,
it's very personal.
That, yes.
It's like sending somebody a diary entry when you're sending them lyrics.
I understand that.
And I have to kind of psych myself up to do that. So like, I've actually worked a lot probably on my own self-development in recent years, and worked a lot on my own, mind frame. And, I'm always been a positive person, but it's just, ironically, the thing I care most about is what I can be most reticent about sharing. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
It does.
So I plucked up the courage anyway to send Johnny some ideas, and it was a good time for him because he wasn't gigging. He wasn't maybe as busy as he normally would be with COVID. There was no gigs. So he had time too to sit at home.
I was trying to get him for duet for ages, Scott. When he was busy, I couldn't. He was so
busy. Yeah. I mean, he was flat out gigging the whole time. Like, he's such an amazing performer. But I think I just caught him at the right time, because, he was at home, and there was COVID, gigs weren't on, and, he was in a space where he was enjoying co-writing as well. So I sent him some ideas, and we wrote 3 songs together.
Oh, wow.
And one of the songs was This Country Girl. And then I plucked up my courage again, and because I think he's an amazing singer. I sent him a message, and I fully expected him to say no, or that it wouldn't be for his audience or whatever. And I said, any chance you'd like to sing on the track, This Country Girl, with me? But he said yes, and I was delighted then. And as I said, it took a lot out of me to ask. Even though like I might have been chatting to him loads and writing with him loads, these things take a lot out of me. I still have to work on that. I still have to work on.
Big city and a lot to learn. Small town, a country girl, like a lily and just as pure. Always knew that you wanted more. Yeah.
City boy had all the moves, big dreams and a lot to prove. I was shy, he understood. I wanted you. Kiss my lips, I won't fight. Make it slow, 'cause you got all night. Take my hand, show me your world, and I'll show you this country girl.
Now come shadows fall, your touch gets me through it all. Keep me warm, keep me out of the cold. I love her so much, so. Kiss my lips, I won't fight. Make it slow, 'cause you got all night. Take my hand, show me your world, and I'll show you this country girl. Little bird learn how to fly, find the one who can get you high.
It's alright, gonna be okay. My life, gonna live it my way.
Kiss my lips,
I won't fight,
make it slow.
'cause we got all night.
Take my hand, show me your world,
And I'll show you
this country girl. Take my hand, show me your world, I'll show you this country and I'll show you this country girl. Yeah.
Show me your world, I'll show you.
This country girl.
So I asked him, we ploughed ahead with that then, and his friend Martin O'Neill produced the track, and he did an amazing job. He put his heart and soul into that, and my husband Stephen is big into sound engineering. They were over and back with different suggestions as well, but the mixing and Martin was amazing. He was working on that track for a good 8 or 9 months, like, to get it just perfect.
Wow.
He'd other projects on the go too. He was recording other things at the time, but he put a huge amount of time into it, and he really believed in the song and believed in the track, and he put so much into it. And a fantastic guy, because he's Johnny's business partner, and he when it came to promoting the track, I suppose I took responsibility then for promoting it to radio, and Martin did a lot of the online social media promotion and Spotify and everything. And so he was a huge part of the team. You know, it's not just the singers like and the writers, it's the people producing it and the people mixing it and the people helping you promote it. And Martin was a huge part of all that, and an amazing human being. We were obviously very devastated when he passed away there. You know, like I'd been talking to him the day before where I'd asked him to do the next single with me too, because I was so impressed with his production skills, and he was such a lovely person. But he was a huge part of that song, This Country Girl. He was a huge part of it, but all the time he put in producing it and mixing it and promoting it and everything. So it went to #1 in the country music chart. And then, as I said, on the third day, Johnny rang me that morning and to say sad news that Martin had suddenly passed away. So that was very shocking. But you know, like I'd only worked with Martin this past year, but if I'm honest, like, you know, it took a while to get over that. I didn't do much.
I had this, I don't know, did you hear the story? My latest video, country video, I was filming with the neighbor, Tom Lynham, a lovely video, a country song I wrote myself, old-fashioned. I wanted old-fashioned person, and he's real old-fashioned, single guy on the tractor always. And beautiful video, great song. And then I was sitting here, just was going to put it out actually to advertise the same 4 days after, and I got a text message, he passed away.
Oh my God.
Same thing. I couldn't get over for that. I mean, for a long time. It just shocked me so much. Just the fact that you see somebody so vibrant and alive with you, and then boom, and there is nobody here. It's
it's
so
very shocking.
business.
Very shocking. Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't know where to find your Mr. Right, look for a farming guy and a shiny tractor. He loves his land and the peaceful countryside, but shiny is the all-important factor. Old-fashioned man, he is the best. You'll see him at the country fest. He's handsome and he's full of passion. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being old-fashioned. He'll take you on a lovely country walk. He doesn't text, he hates his mobile phone. He's all about romance, no, just talk. Before the sun has set, he'll walk you home. Old-fashioned man, he is the best. You'll see him at the country fest. He's handsome and he's full of passion. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being old-fashioned. He likes his cattle much as he loves you. He doesn't make his promises too lightly, but if you stick with him, I'm telling you, he'll never disappoint you even slightly. Old-fashioned man, so kind and caring. It's such a shame they're disappearing. We'll give you all our love and passion, so fellows, come along. Come on and sing this song, 'cause there is nothing wrong with being old-fashioned. Old-fashioned men, they're the best. You'll find them at the country fest. They're handsome and so full of passion. I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being old-fashioned. Please stay old-fashioned. Oh, I love old-fashioned.
But at the moment, I'm working with Ray McLaughlin, and I'm very excited. We're working on 2 more original tracks, and we're working on. There's a song I've been dying to put out for ages. That I co-wrote with my husband Stephen and with John Walsh, the guy I did the air ad with in Dublin. And I think it's a really great song. So I'm really looking forward to getting that out now. I'd say, you know, again, things take a little bit longer than you think, and that I thought I might have it out by now, but it'll be out in January.
Super. And then tell me then, so what do your plan, Katrina? Are you going to release singles one by one, or are you going to put up the album? What do you think? The big picture in
The
your
big
head.
picture,
What it
yeah,
is?
I definitely have like got I have several albums worth of material here at home, but I suppose I'm kind of working on it track by track because I'm paying for it all myself and everything like that, getting it produced and doing the
Yeah,
videos and so
I
on.
know.
But so what I'm doing at the moment is I've actually 3 more sort of individual songs on the horizon. 2 songs that are already nearly recorded now. So I'll get the video up and get that next song released hopefully January, February time. And then I've another one to come out a few months after that. I've another one that I'm sort of kind of in talks with someone about producing. And again, I'm kind of excited about that too. It'll kind of be like a big orchestral track along the lines of
Oh,
the There You'll Be in Pearl Harbor, that kind of a style.
mhm.
So I'm kind of in talks about getting that on the go as well. And then the thing I'm trying to work on now as well at the moment is I want to put a band together and start booking in gigs and things. So, and get a set together. So I feel that's my next step. So that's what I'm working on as well at the
Okay.
moment is just
Tell me then, do you have any online presences? Anybody? Because I have a big auditory abroad in Germany and even America watching my stuff.
yeah.
Where would you send them? Where can they find you?
Yeah, well, I noticed on Spotify now, there's a lot of people in America. We got on a few Nashville Spotify playlists with this country girl, which I was delighted about.
Wow.
And a lot in
Congratulations.
Scandinavia actually, and a lot in the UK. So those were the biggest countries: America, the UK, and Scandinavia,
Mm-hmm.
Norway, and Sweden. So that's kind of where our catchment seems to be, as well as
Mm-hmm.
Ireland. And I'm lucky as we're back recording Gloria next week now as well in Galway. So I'm looking forward
That's
to getting back
fabulous.
there. Yeah, we've a new format this year, so that's going to be exciting.
How
And
long are you judge on this program, Katrina? Is it long?
about 17 years. Yeah, we're there a long time. So I love it. I love being part of it. And
Of
it's
course,
lovely
yeah.
to hear, young singers and young talent and all the different styles of country music and all the different ages and backgrounds. And, there's lots of diversity.
So
Both
back to online presence then. Where to go to connect with you if people
So
want to
I'm
message
on Instagram under @Sullivan Katrina, and I'm on Facebook as well under Katrina O'Sullivan. There I do a lot through my personal page actually, as well as my artist page.
you? Okay.
And I'm on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel as well.
Mhm.
So that's where I am at the moment.
Great. Okay. So um I wish you all the very, very best. I mean, I'm dying actually to hear all your original music because I love songwriters, I think. And what I'm wishing you more, Katrina, I know how helpful you are. I can see it from you that you like real people's person, very warm and everything. Just to learn to put yourself a little bit on the first place in the next few years and
I know.
concentrate on what your soul wants you to do and
Yeah.
get that music out. Just
Yeah.
concentrate on it until it's too late. Get it out, record it, and give it a priority. It's very
Yeah,
important.
oh, I am at the moment, Larissa. I am.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm at a nice point in life at the moment where I suppose because of having written all the books, it gave me a little bit of freedom,
That's
even
fabulous.
financial freedom and a little bit of time to be able to do it, and
Yeah,
as you say,
fabulous.
these days it is people doing it for themselves, as people setting up their own businesses. And I'm looking at it as setting up a new business, and you have to invest in yourself and invest in your music and get it off
Yes,
the ground.
set it up and then it will
Yeah,
start to
and
pay you back.
even things like the health, I'm sort of, spending time, on my own health, to feel good, to get up on stage and all of that. Yourself as a
Hmm.
mother, it takes a while to come back to yourself again and
Yeah,
all
it
that.
is. It
So
is.
it's a
Of
whole
course.
package. It's a whole package, and the self-development bit and everything. So no, I am giving it first place. Don't worry,
Great. No,
for
great.
the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Listen, I'm really appreciate you give me this all this time, Katrina. I'm delighted that I met you. You're beautiful altogether, beautiful creature, and I
Lovely to meet you
wishing you
too.
all the best. I will be in touch and try to push this as much as possible. Okay,
Thank you so much,
and
Larissa.
and
Great to
Come
talk to
back to
you.
me anytime, anyway, when you have
I
any.
certainly will. I
Okay?
certainly will. Thank
Bye
you so
bye.
much. Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things.
I walked in town on silver spurs that jingle too. The song that I had only sang for just a few. She saw my silver spurs and said, let's spend some time. And I will give to you summer wine. Ooh, summer wine.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things. Take off your silver spurs and help me pass the time, and I will give to you summer wine. Summer wine.
My eyes grew heavy and my lips, they could not speak. I tried to get up, but I could not find my feet. She reassured me with an unfamiliar line, and then she gave to me more summer wine. Summer wine.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things. Take off your silver spurs and help me pass the time, and I will give to you summer wine. Summer wine.
When I woke up, the sun was shining in my eyes. My silver spurs were gone, my head felt twice the size. She took my silver spurs, $1 and a dime, and left me craving for more summer wine. Ooh, summer wine.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring.
My summer wine is really made from all these things.
Take off your silver spurs and help me pass the time,
And I will give to you
the summer
Guys,
wine.
don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Larissa Tormey Music, and share this show as we are helping an independent musicians.